Honestly, they really don't make spoof movies like they used to. Hey guys, I'm Rebecca from WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest scenes from parody movies.
The problem may have been that there was a Stonehenge monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed.
Since parody is such a broad term, we're sticking with movies that directly satirize a specific franchise or genre from beginning to end. So that means we're excluding movies like Monty Python and the Holy Grail or The Naked Gun, because they are more like slapstick comedies with parody elements, no matter how much I deeply love them. All right, let's get to the list. Number 10, Cruelest Kiss, not another teen movie. This was one of the last parody movies that succeeded in tickling our funny bones. Perhaps that's because it actually stuck to satirizing a genre as opposed to simply referencing whatever was popular at the time.
I don't want to hear it, mister. You just bought yourself another detention.
A send-up of teen movies, the film wouldn't be complete without a steamy kiss. This scene puts a spin on the same-sex smooch from Cruel Intentions, although instead of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair, it's a seductive young woman and an old lady who's never been kissed.
Now close your eyes and wet your lips. Are you for real?
Embracing saliva, gum, and tongue, the filmmakers make the kiss look as sloppy as possible. But cut away, thankfully, before Catherine can show her elderly friend how to go down.
Have you ever eaten pussy before?
Number 9, Stonehenge. This is Spinal Tap.
I'm really influenced by Mozart and Bach, and it's sort of in between though. It's like a Mach piece, really.
What do you call this?
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
This mockumentary feels so authentic that it nearly tricks the audience into believing Spinal Tap is an actual heavy metal band.
I think he's right. There's something about this that's so black. It's like, how much more black could this be? And the answer is none.
Not only did their songs strike a perfect balance between parody and legitimate rock, but the behind-the-scenes problems they endure seem strangely real. In this absurdly believable sequence, the band decides to incorporate a Stonehenge megalith into their performance, with Nigel sketching the prop on a napkin. He confuses feet for inches, however, resulting in a meager megalith that looks even smaller when stacked up against dancing little people on a stage. It's a scene that kicks the comedy up to 11, or perhaps in this case, 18 inches.
This is scenery? Have you ever been to Stonehenge?
No,
The triptychs are 20 feet high.
Number 8, I Shag Dead People, MacGruber. What started as an SNL sketch parodying MacGyver eventually evolved into a feature film that pokes fun at the entire action genre. MacGruber has all the criteria of an action hero: a dark past, a nemesis with an accent, and a fiancé who was tragically taken away from him.
You forget I taught you everything you know.
Not everything, Colonel.
Speaking of which, the film also plays with the trope of communicating with a dead loved one. At Casey's grave, MacGruber is visited by his fiancée's ghost, who gives him permission to move on. Before letting go, however, MacGruber takes Casey for one last roll in the graveyard. Whether this is real or a deranged fantasy, their awkward sex provides the movie's most explosively funny moment. Number 7, I Am Your Daughter, Scary Movie 3. After being accused of child abuse, Michael Jackson jokes were everywhere, and we mean everywhere in the early 2000s.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Before the subject matter was parodied to death, though, Scary Movie 3 delivered this memorable send-up of the controversial musician. What starts as a satire of the others takes a bizarre turn when Charlie Sheen goes looking for his daughter and instead uncovers Michael Jackson.
Where is my daughter?
Are you mad? I am your daughter.
No, you're not.
Yeah, it's incredibly immature, but this scene packs in several great gags. From Jackson's dance fighting skills, to his infamous baby dangling incident, to his plastic surgery, to the conspiracy that he was an alien. The fact that Edward Moss can impersonate MJ to a T only adds to the hilarity. Number 6, Bridge Fight, Robin Hood, Men in Tights. You can't have a list like this without director Mel Brooks, and Robin Hood, Men in Tights is widely considered to be his last quality spoof movie. The film is primarily a parody of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but also the Disney and Errol Flynn versions. This scene reenacts Robin and Little John's iconic bridge fight to hysterical effect, as the two quickly realize that their sticks aren't as sturdy as they seem. What's starts as a rousing duel deteriorates into a couple of grown men whacking each other with tiny pieces of wood. As if that's not childish and silly enough, Robin ultimately pushes John into a puddle, which inexplicably almost causes him to drown.
Help me! I can't swim! I'm drowning!
Number 5. Kickboxing, Hot Shots Part Deux. Whereas the first Hot Shots was mostly a parody of Top Gun, Part Deux takes on Rambo.
I didn't do anything!
For the sequel, Charlie Sheen actually went through weight training to better resemble Sylvester Stallone. Having someone with an action hero's physique perform such ridiculous stunts makes the comedy all the more hilarious. Nowhere is this more apparent than in this scene, as Topper Harley enters a kickboxing fight where anything goes. Nunchaku, lassos, and candy toppings are all fair game. As is the case with the rest of the movie, the sequence has a joke per second, from an audience member getting casually decapitated to an ingenious plug for Subway sandwiches, to the literal anticlimax. Number 4. Men in Tights, Robin Hood Men in Tights. It wouldn't be a Mel Brooks movie without an uproarious musical number, and this is one of his best. There seems to be a preconceived notion that tights are not manly, but this song argues otherwise, as the merry men break out into a merry melody.
We're men in tights.
Singing like the ensemble of a Broadway musical, and even doing a can-can dance, the men note that their tights might not be the most intimidating apparel, but this doesn't make them any less butch.
We're men, manly men, we're men in tights. Yes!
They vow to protect the poor and knock out anybody who mocks their wardrobe choices. On that note, Blinken also gets in a few good punches, as he stumbles throughout the wonderfully choreographed number.
What would you say, or else we'll put out your lights? We're men in tights.
Number 3. Mustafa's Death, Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. Throughout this spy spoof, the not-so-subtly named Dr. Evil demonstrates just how impractical James Bond villains can be.
We get the warhead, and we hold the world ransom for $1 million.
For example, a chair that reclines into a pit of fire sounds like a pretty cool way to dispose of insubordinate minions. What happens if the victim doesn't die instantly, though? The threatening atmosphere Dr. Evil was trying to create is completely derailed as a very badly burnt Mustafa cries out in pain.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Someone help me. I'm still alive, only I'm very badly burned.
The evil mastermind tries ignoring the pleas for help at first, but soon gives in and acknowledges the elephant in the room. Well, under the room. Even then, it takes multiple gunshots to silence Mustafa for good, giving new meaning to the term beating a dead horse.
You shot me.
Okay, moving on.
You shot me right in the arm. Why did...
Number 2. Keep Firing, Spaceballs. Considering that the characters watch the film while it's still being made, Spaceballs might be the most meta movie of Mel Brooks' career.
How can there be a cassette of Spaceballs, the movie? We're still in the middle of making it. Oh, that's true, sir.
If we had to single out one scene we would rewatch over and over again, however, it would have to be this priceless moment. Frustrated with one of his Spaceballs, Dark Helmet is taken aback to learn that his subordinate is literally named Asshole.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
He got the job from his cousin, who is also an asshole. It then dawns on Dark Helmet that almost every crew member aboard his ship is an asshole in every sense of the word. Anybody who has to work with people they cannot stand undoubtedly references this scene frequently.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Ha ha! I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
I'll go back to the passengers.
Now, some of these are limited.
Whoa, what was that?
I think it was Blue Monday. Man, there was an original pressing.
I need this, I need love, I need you. I don't need one heartbeat, I need two.
Number 1. Bookcase, Young Frankenstein.
Seems to be coming from behind the bookcase.
Behind the bookcase.
Young Frankenstein set the gold standard for modern parody movies, recreating the look and feel of the original horror classic, but then turning it into something absolutely ludicrous.
Walk this way. This way.
The comedy especially springs to life in this scene, as the doctor and his assistant stumble upon a secret room behind a bookshelf. The passageway isn't without a few kinks though, as Dr. Frankenstein gets stuck and attempts to give Inga instructions on how to free him. Each attempt only puts Frankenstein in a more uncomfortable position, eventually sandwiching his body between the bookcase and a hard place. Gene Wilder's delivery is nothing short of genius, as Frankenstein tries to keep it together while nearly losing his head.
Now listen to me very carefully. Don't put the candle back.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.